Patrick at PALS, and we're back with the PALS truck. It's a 2018 Ram 2500 with a 6.7 turbo diesel. And you know, it's 67,000 miles, 67.5. There's a thing that comes across your digital display called Perform Service. Doesn't tell you what service to perform, it just says Perform Service. Jim, when that happens, what is it?
That's usually for what they call PCV. There's a filter system, basically for the crankcase ventilation, and it's up under this cover, right on top of the valve cover.
So it's right under where it says 6.7 turbo diesel, and there's a filter right underneath of that. Why do they tell you to change that at 67.5 instead of when it gets dirty?
Well, because they know it's going to be dirty by then. I mean, the oil's constantly flowing through the system.
Now, folks, you know, when that light comes up, you don't necessarily think of PALS. But at PALS, we know what that is, right, Chuck?
Yeah, we absolutely know what it is, and we know how to remedy it and fix it for you. So if you end up having that pop up on your dash, what you really need to do is bring it to PALS and let us take care of that. Now, Jimmy, talk about the diesel particulate filter. What exactly does it do?
They've got a system, what they call the DEF system on these vehicles, and they use blue DEF fluid, which is basically like an ammonia. And what it does is it's a filter and exhaust system is what it is. It takes the place of, like on the back of your exhaust down around your mufflers and stuff in most cases. And what they've got, it consists of sensors, and it's got little injectors which will inject that fluid into the exhaust, and it sprays the fluid, and after it superheats the coils or the inside of the filter, and that's designed to clean and burn
try to clean the soot up for the diesel engine.
Yeah, the NO2s out of the air.
Is it a bit problematic though for people when they get any kind of mileage on their truck?
Yeah, they actually need to be serviced regularly. If you're not, especially if you're not driving a vehicle, highway miles. If you're just like in and out of your,
So it's not good to idle the motor, I guess.
Well,
for long periods of time.
Not with them systems, no. I mean, you can idle them for a while, but you got to drive them too. Because the system, you got to be going so many miles per hour down the highway for so long before it'll actually activate the system to clean it out.
And we actually have some chemicals coming in that will allow us to service your DEF system without having the expense of hopefully replacing it, because it's extremely uncost effective to replace that system. It's expensive. So at PALS, we're going to offer a cleaning service for that.
And you know, something that happens on these trucks, and folks, you may have seen it on your diesel, you may not have, but there's actually a feature on these trucks that's called an auto regeneration. And what happens is, when you're going like on the expressway and you're pulling and the vehicle gets really hot and heated up, when the particulate filter gets filled up, it'll auto regenerate, and there's a heater in there that will melt all the soot off and take it out. So that's what the manufacturers have done to control this. But the problem is, say you're in stop and go driving all the time in like a city like Orlando or Chicago or wherever. Stop and go driving kills these because the system can never really heat up enough. The other thing is, people think they've got a diesel, they can just leave it idle all night if they want to. Right. That's not true. That's the worst thing you can do.
You'll end up damaging that DEF system.
Right.
You'll end up damaging that filter, that diesel particulate filter.
Now, Chuck, we're going to do, we do a performance oil change for these trucks, right?
Correct, yes sir.
Okay, so the performance oil change is going to clean the fuel injectors. It's also going to clean the crankcase, right?
Correct, yes sir.
And then we're going to put a conditioner in, and that will help maintain. But folks, you can't wait until the check engine light comes on to fix the system. You've got to maintain it all the way through, or you're going to have a problem, and you need to use it right.
You have to be proactive.
Otherwise,
it's thousands and thousands of dollars to repair that system.
And Chuck, people think, I'm going to buy a diesel, it'll get better fuel economy, and I can pull anything I want. and then they use it 1 week out of the year to pull their fifth wheel. That's the worst thing you can do. They should have a gas engine. Am I correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
That is correct, because you're not doing the truck any good, and you may end up costing yourself unnecessary repairs.
So something to keep in mind with a diesel, you want to keep the RPMs up. I know that sounds different than you've always been told. Lower RPMs give you better fuel economy, but with a diesel, you need to keep them wound up. Of course, a diesel red line is a lot different than a gas engine. The red line on this truck is only 3,000 RPM. A gas burner, it's 6,000 RPM.
Right. Well, it's designed and geared differently because of pulling a heavy load.
Right. So when you're looking at these, if you've got a diesel and you need something done to it, if a check engine light comes on, if the perform service light comes on, because this is a Ram, it's the same with Chevrolet and Ford. They all have these systems. Diesel particulate is part of the emission controls that are put on these trucks. And if you get a light or your truck starts misbehaving, bring it to PALS. We can take care of it. See you soon.